Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. I just wanted to give you a little heads up about stuff that's happening on my platform xProgress, where I now have a viewer's guide to the Swedish SSL finals coming up this weekend, where you can learn more, like a little bit more intricate stuff about the men's final teams, Falun and Storvreta. So I've been digging a little bit deeper and looking at some things that I think will make your viewings of the game much more interesting if you're into floorball. So some small things to look at that might enhance the value of watching the game. And while I do this, I also have a 7-day free trial for everyone who signs up for a gold membership, meaning you can stop whenever you want to during these 7 days of the free trial, and no one will charge you any money. And everyone who starts a gold membership before the Swedish finals will also be part of a random lottery thing that I'll do, where one of the people who register from now on until before the finals will win 12 months of free gold membership. So one of the people who register from now on until the finals will win 12 months of free gold membership. So here I'll start with just a little bit of a teaser of what I got for these two viewers guides. You'll get a look of some Fallen stuff and some Storvreta stuff, but if you want to see the main thing, then go over to xprogress.se. All the links and everything are in the description down here, where also the link to the offer for the 7-day trial list. Take care and hope you'll enjoy the finals coming up this weekend. Bye bye. Okay, so the viewer's guide for Storvreta before the Swedish finals. Start with the defensive system, which is kind of a hybrid system, but it more or less is a 5 times man-man coverage thing, though the two forwards will have more zonal duties than the 3 guys that are behind them. I can illustrate this pretty good with this example here. So we see the 2 forwards obviously mainly responsible for their own defenders of Pixbo, so to speak, but still like in a zonal coverage. So if one of the Pixbo guys would just run off like this and there's no other activity, they probably wouldn't follow them, so they'd look for someone else, maybe someone else coming back so they can take on to this guy. But if this would happen in a situation where they feel that this player will be dangerous, so someone's got the ball over here or something, then the forward would eventually fall off. But here we see Pixbo playing the ball then up, and behind this line, so to speak, there are then 3 individual one-on-one situations. So we see Pixbo rotating a little bit to this direction, and the Storvreta players just following. So see the little carousel going on behind, where they just meet up and play man-man, and then the forwards moving back to help out while they kind of cover their own players. So this is more or less a short summary of what's happening. And these forwards are doing double duties in a way. So like I said, here it's pretty easy. They have their players, so to speak, but they can also at the same time, so Ulriksson here, while covering Schill, he also helps out covering angles, of course. So when this pass comes from Lindberg, he's there to put it up, to pick it up, even though it's not like his primary guy who gets the ball. Also like this reaction from Goblekonen, who really wanted that ball, which says something about like their the chemistry that is between them, that he expects him to turn around and understand that there might be a path over to him, which certainly there would be. So just a cool little thing there. And of course the thing here, I think, is winning the war through the individual battles. So a lot of time with this system, it will end up like this. So the forward putting pressure on his defender, Pixbo playing the ball back into the pocket where there's a new one-on-one situation happening. There's another one here. There's another one here. There's a forward here who wants to follow his guy here if he's coming, just to make sure that the numerous advantage isn't there for Pixbo. Then they play it down. There's another one-on-one. Like I said earlier, there's just 4 times one-on-one going on here. So it just takes so much to create in this way. So that's kind of the idea of the system. And you'll see Pixbo here, for example. They play a pass, get a one-on-one here, play it on, get another one-on-one here, keep on playing it, get another one-on-one here. But in this situation, they actually survive, and then they manage to play a great pass over the central line, but this is kind of what it takes to if you go this route, so to speak, in terms of creating chances. And then they have Ulriksson, who's some kind of one-man defensive machine at times. So look for these types of situations where he just goes on his own, so to speak, on a weaker home pass, shoves Lindbäck a little bit in the back there, but gets away with it and wins ball. So he does a lot of this, of course. And also, like in the own zone here, look at him. It doesn't look like much of a potential chance for Storvreta right now. But then he just wins this ball, cheats a little bit by holding the arm of Lindberg. Referees don't see it, and he then creates a chance like out of his own. It's just an amazing weapon to have for them. So what can Falun do then against this? Well, I think movement between the lines, so to speak. So if you once again, now these are the two forwards of Storvreta, and then the ball moves up here. So we should look at these three players as the like primary man-man coverage players. And when this happens, like a player moves in like this, so he was this player's guy, but because he's moving in towards the next guys, it becomes a little bit unsorted for Storvreta, and then he plays it back. And at this moment here, you see, these two forwards of Storvreta do not have two guys in front of them anymore, but just one, which means that the three man coverage players in Storvreta actually already are busy with three Pixbo players, and then there's a fourth guy coming in to this zone here, like between the zonal players and the man-man players. And this is where it gets interesting. So it's a tricky situation here for the right midfielder, because he probably thinks he's kind of covering this guy, but then he's got to assess the situation quicker here to move in and take care of Pale, who then scores. So this thing moving between the lines, moving between the more zonal coverage and the more man-man coverage, this is a really good way of attacking this system. All right, so here the viewer's guide for Falun for the Swedish Finals 2025. First, the defensive system, or actually the systems, because there are two of them. They have the full court press that they can deploy. And when they do, there's seldomly like a big height difference between these two guys. So they're pretty high up trying to activate the pressing with two forwards. And they go also, of course, if this happens, if a point player is there, they might activate this player a little bit more here. And then the pass comes behind him. There's a center coming up to put the pressure. And then they don't give up on these kind of balls. So here, Galante actually comes from his right side, going over to the left. And then Nilsson decides to fill the other side, so they're pretty dynamic in this. And then they try to hit them with a full court press, which they did more, I think, in this fifth game in the series against Växjö, and they got pretty good results out of it. So that's one thing they can do. The other thing they do is more of a like 2-1-2 M type of formation, where the M is seen like this, where the right forward is a little bit more active on defending entries than the left player is, which then normally forms a kind of an M like this during play. So they can deploy more or less these two systems. That's what you could expect from them. But how many lines do what? That's another thing. What can Storvreta do? Well, against the full court press, or also the counter press, meaning Falun shooting the ball and then trying to win it back. I think there's a thing here. So here, Falun loses the ball, and then they try to win it back with this Nilsson, Galante Karlström line. So I think a potential problem here for them is what happens here. So when Oskar Johansson moves behind the net, there's no one stopping or trying to like close down the central line here. So they take the more passive approach and they drop back with Nilsson. And this is where I see a big risk against so many skilled Storvreta defenders with the ball, that there'll be this gap here where exactly this type of thing happens, where they're not applying pressure to someone, they're just standing around at like 90%, and it opens up so much of the court. So I think this will be something to follow during the game, where Storvreta potentially could do a lot of damage. And against the more M system, well, the biggest thing I see here, this is something we've documented a lot on this platform earlier, is André Andersson being amazing here in this position, you see the M here, and this little hole for a righty here, where balls can be played into that area here, and also another righty here being able to go right, like with the firepower that Storvreta has with their righties. That's definitely something to look for. Then we have this Johansson line, like the first line of Falun, where Lundmark and Rud, Johansson playing the center, and then Burman and Collentun. Burman and Collentun obviously aren't magicians with a ball, but they're steady ball movers, I'd say, and they can supply this line with enough quality, I think, the way it's looked. And what can they do? Assuming you watched this one as the second, which I think you should have, the way I put it up in the article, you already know about the Storvreta way of defense and this moving between the lines thing that I talked about there. If not, then go and see that video beforehand, I think is better. So they do a lot of this, like where Emil Johansson will start off in a defensive position, play the ball sideways, and then move in to this area here between the lines. Remember, Storvreta playing more man with their last three and playing more zonal with the first players. So this will be something to look for. If this can be an interesting thing. They don't succeed in it here, but it could have worked out. So I think this is definitely something to look for Falun to do. And then they're really good, this line involving a fourth player. So like I said, I think the defenders Burman and Collentun are good ball movers. They can move the ball with quality, like here, just pass it directly, set their guys up for being able to be creative, or here they go around the net. They keep on putting themselves in more and more interesting positions, being able to shield the ball. And then all of a sudden, of course, this is a weird thing, seeing all 5 Växjö players like this, but then they involve the fourth guy with good timing, and this happens frequently. So we see a free hit against Växjö where it's kind of the same thing here. They use their fourth guy to come up like this, and the way you saw the Storvreta film I did, of course, this attacking with 4 thing can of course be lethal if you do it correctly also against the Storvreta system. All right, so like I said, just a little teaser. Go to the xProgress platform, follow the link in the description, and you'll find the rest of the viewer's guide of the Swedish men's SSL finals. All right, take care, guys. Bye.